Do I love me some Vanilla?
Oh, I think we all love Vanilla.
Not only is she funny, kind, cool, talented, and drop-dead gorgeous, Vanilla Mace also has a really unique and all-around put-together style. And I want to talk about her today. Unless you've been hiding under a rock for the past year and a half, you know exactly who Vanilla Mace is. I'm honestly not sure if I've seen internet growth and blanketed love for someone on the internet like this in my entire life. And honestly, it's more than deserved. Streamer and YouTuber Vanilla Mace began taking her Twitch streaming career seriously around 2024, and she completely exploded, totally dominating TikTok throughout 2025. Landing her as one of the most loved streamers and internet personalities of our current time. This success made it possible for Vanilla to move to full-time streaming and vlogging, stepping away from her career as a midnight ballerina. Now we can watch her multiple times a week play games like Marvel Rivals, Sims 4, Peak, FNAF, and so many more. If you're a fan, you understand exactly why I like her. I want to talk about her fashion today though. And in my opinion, she has one of the most unique senses of styles in our current culture. Since Vanilla is a newer internet celebrity, we can't cover too much in ways of style evolution, as we're really only able to see the past couple of years here. Normally, I would like to break down how someone's style changes over the years, but even her Instagram only backdates to around 2020, where we can see that her style is relatively similar to what it is today. In a nutshell, I would describe Vanilla's sense of style in these 4 words: clean, retro, kawaii, playboy. Let me explain. Vanilla's everyday walking around attire seems to feature mainly athletic wear like Aloe, Skims. I'm really not sure if she actually wears Skims, but I know she wears Aloe. And we know she likes to thrift as well. Vanilla will often seem to lean more into a silhouette focus rather than busy prints, at least for her everyday fits when we see her streaming and vlogging. I see off-duty Kate Moss in some of these looks, Carole King, and some 90s minimalism influences like Winona Ryder and pre-Goop early 90s era Gwyneth Paltrow. A lot of Vanilla's looks feel contemporary rather than nostalgic, even though if you break down the silhouettes and styles, you could trace them back to specific eras and trends. It just doesn't feel that way because of the way that she wears them. Even though we see a vintage inspired silhouette or trim here and there, it's not giving vintage cosplay. And I think that this is because she pairs so many different decades in a way that makes it something brand new. For example, this 20s x 60s or 70s sort of look with the capri cut pant. This is so effortlessly cool, and we know this was effortless because it's one of Vanilla's more chill days. She's at the beach with a friend. While this piece specifically does give vintage, paired with Vanilla's hair and her attitude, it feels modern somehow. Now, where the retro kawaii playboy description comes into play is where I find her style to be particularly interesting. These looks are for more dressed up, going out events, but to me, it has a thin thread of Lil' Kim flavor, like this look she wore for a DJ set back in 2025, where we can see an early 2000s, late 90s style swoop neck halter top paired with pink booty shorts and layered with charms on chains. The charms on chains are what make this look very kawaii, and it dips a toe into maximalism, but in a very Vanilla Mace way. One thing that propelled Vanilla into the spotlight was her love for blind boxes, Sunny Angels, Labubus, and skull pandas. So the inclusion of the charm belt here is not only on brand, but it just works so well for her. And of course, the wig ties it all together. We see this toy influence in some of Vanilla's styled looks, namely this look styled by Sol Koi, featuring Sanrio stuffies and a really interesting wardrobe for Vanilla herself. The vibe of this shoot was more folk than some of the other looks we have seen for Vanilla, but this shoot has to be one of my absolute favorites I have seen her in, because to me, it completely encapsulates Vanilla's sense of whimsy, not taking things too seriously, but serving all at the same time. One thing Vanilla does incredibly well with her looks is that you can just tell they are authentically her. And this is something that her audience just loves about her to begin with. Unapologetic, Fun, cool, and just effortless, honestly. All fashion repeats, and basically all fashion is inspired by something that has already happened. But Vanilla's style takes bits and pieces from different time periods and style genres and combines them in a seamless way. She's not influenced by trends or maximalism. Her looks are feminine, but they embody strength with just a touch of softness. When she does venture into maximalist style, it's not too busy and still has this really strong thread of her personality coming through. Like the outfits are not wearing her, but the other way around. Her looks are always different, but there are reoccurring themes and prints, like heart polka dots, leopard print, and typically the same color palettes, besides the rare pop of color that we see from time to time. Again, what Vanilla wears just depends on how she's feeling for that day and what the event is. Another reason why it's just effortless. This is genuinely, authentically what she wants to wear at any given time. We see a lot more of Vanilla on camera when she is cozy and comfy, whether it be vlogging, IRL streaming, or gaming. And while there is a staunch difference between her dressed up looks and her dressed down looks, of course, she's able to shift between hyper femme, delicately detailed and interesting, to a more baggy, more mask look with a consistent focus on silhouette. What we almost never see though is lots of red, purple, stripes, or too much layering. Like the only examples of use of layering I see in Vanilla's looks are when she might wear a hoodie over an outfit. She has said before during stream that she doesn't love the color red and she doesn't love the color purple, but again, she doesn't take herself too seriously and never seems to set hard and fast rules when it comes to anything, but specifically fashion. If Vanilla's content and her fashion and style teach us anything, it's that life is too short, just have fun and do what you want. We saw a recent example of Vanilla in her formal glory at the Streamer Awards, where she stayed true to her style, donning a dress that was silhouette focused with interesting details throughout. One color, no embellishment, no prints. One thing I really love about Vanilla and her fashion is that she tends to shop smaller for a lot of things, and this dress I believe was a custom piece. While we do see her shop bigger brands like Aloe for her dressed down fits, it seems more Vanilla's speed to thrift or shop custom for these more formal events, and I think that's the coolest thing that you can do. Let's talk merch for a second. Vanilla has released a few waves of merch to this day, and they sell out literally immediately. This is both, in my opinion, because of her popularity and support from her audience, but also because you can just feel that Vanilla doesn't do things for cash grabs and keeps it real and true to herself. It's not rushed. It's not just her name slapped on a t-shirt with a 500% markup. It's pieces that not only would she wear herself, but she also seems to source small for production and design. Her most recent merch release featured delicate lines, lacy illustrations, and whimsical fairy-esque graphics. She did mention during a stream I watched who the designer or the artist was for these, and she did mention during talking about it that she likes to source smaller and just get her people paid, but I can't seem to find the actual artist or designer for these, so if you do know, please comment and let me know. Maybe I just have overlooked it. But this merch drop to me felt just perfect for the current era of Vanilla Mace. Subtle, delicate, and whimsical. While on the topic of merch, she's also done a collab with Steady Hands, creating 2 cardigans featuring her children, Miso and Chai, and a second one in a sort of academia preppy vibe. Preppy being the scholastic sort of preppy, not the 2020 preppy. I personally adore these cardigans. My style does lean more dark academia, so I would wear the fuck out of these. But this is just another example of how Vanilla's merch and wearable products are much more than just a quick cash grab for her fans. These pieces are intentional, niche, and genuinely stylish. Now for my favorite part of the video, the design segment. This part of the video is going to be me designing a capsule collection for Vanilla to wear herself, as well as my interpretation of what some merch could be. The capsule collection will be a formal wear type situation. Think red carpet, an event, something. And the merch portion is exactly what it sounds like. Something that she could potentially launch as a merch collection for her fans to wear around, for her to wear, for me to wear, for you to wear. Note, this segment is completely unprompted. Nobody asked me to do this. I am not working with Vanilla. We are not affiliated with each other in any sort of way. Nobody asked me to do this. I'm doing this myself. I'm gonna probably put a lot of work into it. But again, nobody asked me to do it. This is not like a sneak peek behind the scenes. She doesn't know me. She doesn't know my name. I don't know her. It's just something fun that I like to do. And I wanted to show it. I wanted to show it to you. Anyways, so for the capsule collection that I would like to see her wearing, pieces that I'm designing for her, I'm thinking maybe three or four pieces, and then maybe for the merch collection, maybe 2 to 3, around 7 total. These take me a long time. I put a lot of work into these, so we'll see how many we end up with at the end. So when I'm designing, unless I already have a really specific idea in mind, I'll start the ideation phase by looking at images, colors, prints, textures, anything. This is a really visual heavy session. Things that I see that I find inspirational for a certain project, I'll save or screenshot. If I'm flipping through print media, which I do prefer to do for the ideation phase for a collection, I'll rip a page out and just start a stack of images that I'm collecting that I want to work with. But right now, just because this is kind of a quicker project, I'm just working on collecting imagery. I actually don't like a lot of fashion heavy imagery when I'm working in the ideation phase because I'm looking more for ideas in texture, print, and vibes. And I find that fashion imagery can influence too much of the final look, making it feel just less original. So I want to look at places and things as opposed to just scrolling my Pinterest feed, as of course there's a lot of fashion-based imagery here. So when I think of vanilla, I think of West Coast, sort of Malibu, Palm Springs, Barbie-esque retro vibes. So let's look up retro Malibu aesthetic right here on Pinterest and see what we can come up with. Immediately, I'm seeing more of a vibe than I am seeing a style suggestion, and I'm loving this direction. And of course, because Pinterest is just ads and AI a lot of the time these days, I'm going to try really hard to avoid using any of those images. A lot of these images that I'm leaning towards kind of reflect how Vanilla seems to be decorating her new place. Retro glam vibes here, which I'm really feeling for the base idea of the collection, and I want to see what else I can find. Honestly, such an obscene amount of AI generated imagery on here, even though they are cute. I just don't want to click them, and sometimes it does happen on accident. But I've gathered a decent idea of some vibes and textures, so now I want to take all of these images that I've collected and put them on one page so I can really see what we're working with. This part is really fun because typically you will see things that are reoccurring, whether that be with color or embellishment or print. So I'm just going to move things around and sort of put them together in a cohesive way. A lot of the time when you do this step, you'll find that there might be images that just don't work or stick out too much or are too contrasting, so you can get rid of those. But I'm actually pretty happy with this mood board. And with this mood board locked in, I'm going to move on to my next step for me, which is some preliminary sketches. And these are just really rough sketches, things that are jumping out at me that I see in the mood board, or maybe some ideas that I already have just kind of floating around for what I want to see in the capsule collection. But I'm also keeping in mind what we've learned today about Vanilla's specific style preferences, or at least what seems to be her preferences. So while I have some maximalist style prints here, I'm not sure I'll go with that for her look or not. I'm seeing a repeat of this silky satin material like boudoir sheets, and I'm really loving that. I know for silhouette, she likes to show her figure, and thank God. So I definitely want to lean into that. But I might throw a couple different silhouettes in here. Just maybe something different. Like, we don't want to just recreate shit we've already seen her wear before. I kind of want to push the boundary just a wee bit here. Like, somewhere in between, I know she will like it and it will be her vibe, but also she hasn't done it before, you know? Another thing I'm seeing here a lot is symmetry. And if we think back to Vanilla's Streamer Awards dress, that was very symmetrical. So here in this print, in these palm trees, there's symmetry happening, but alongside this more asymmetrical retro print as well. So maybe we'll play with that a bit. While I'm doing these sketches, I have the original mood board and those preliminary sketches right in front of me so I can really see. I'm going to grab different details that I want to see in this collection. During this step, I really get out as many rough sketches as possible on top of my croquis, and eventually a few pieces will be cut and I'll just be keeping my favorites. At some point as well, I locked in a color palette, and this is something that I want to stick with and see consistent throughout those pieces. This way it's just a cohesive kind of flow throughout the collection. After getting out as many rough sketches as I possibly can, I'll move on to rendering these designs a little bit more, and this is where things will get cut and where things will be like finalized, like added, because it makes me really think about the structure and the construction of the garments, and then I can just visualize it a lot more. I did end up getting 4 final pieces, and here they are. We have 2 full-length dresses, 1 mini dress, and a capri cut pantsuit. So let's go through each one really quick and I'll explain the materials and the details. Starting with the leopard mini dress, I stuck kind of safe with my color palette here. As you can see, this is a light pink shade with an orange ombre sort of aura vibe coming from the center of the garment. There's a corset back, and the dress's material itself would be a stiff matte satin or maybe even a mikado with the black leopard print on top to really contrast that soft color palette beneath. And because I was loving that silky material that we were seeing in the mood board, I added a sheer silky chiffon drape just on one of the hips to sort of tie in just a pinch of asymmetry. For the second piece, this is an entirely sheer baby pink dress with a plunge neckline and completely open back to show off her tattoo. A split heart applique over the bust and full heart applique over the coochie. These would ideally be in a velvet, so we can get that retro glam texture in there as well. The trim on the neckline reminds me a little bit of that dress from that film My Date with the President's Daughter, if you remember that. I lost sleep over that dress when I was a kid. Anyways, additional detail on the back on this one is a double lace-up slit going up the back of either leg. The bow for this would be center of the back of each knee, but the corset lace-up detail itself wouldn't be functional like a regular corset. It's just for design, if you get me. The third piece is this baby pink lace capri cut pantsuit. I have seen this cut of pant on Vanilla before, and it's just chef's kiss perfect, but I wanted to create a new version with our inspo mood board in mind. The top of this piece is sort of like a cottagecore old English bartender vibe with a drape ruffle off the shoulder sleeve and of course some bow details on the back of both legs and center of chest. For the final piece, another sheer dress, this time a high turtleneck, long sleeve, super long dress with just a little peekaboo on the back of the neck with a bow to tie. The material for this one, again, it's completely sheer, but it's a darker blue into a light pink ombre material with that black leopard print on top. This would likely need to be a custom made fabric to get exactly what I'm thinking in my head, but maybe something similar to this or this. The waspy around the waist would be a separate piece. This would be a heavily boned and structured corset under the bust in a matte cotton or again a mikado with no stretch whatsoever. And those lines that you see throughout the sketch, those are actually top stitches. So think like Jean-Paul Gaultier. This is all 4 pieces of my unprompted, nobody asked for, completely voluntary capsule collection that I would love to see Vanilla Mace in by me. For her. Now, before we wrap up this video, I want to do a really quick merch design idea, and this is not to say that her merch isn't already great or anything. I just want to have a go at my own versions and designs. Now, normally for any type of design or collection, unless again I already have a really specific idea in mind, I would typically go back to the drawing board and do another mood board and ideation session. However, since I'm really happy with the vibes I've already captured for Vanilla's capsule collection, I want to just springboard off of that and lean into the current vibes we have there. I know for sure I want to see leopard print included, maybe something with palm trees and that retro glam vibe as well as the same color palette. I'm thinking a t-shirt and a hoodie, just to keep it simple, as typically when influencers and creators launch merch, I think they aim to keep the costs down, so nothing too complicated in ways of materials or cut. We can just stick to a t-shirt and hoodie design. I'll spend a bit of time here sketching my ideas. I have this really specific idea for a design that kind of plays on that vintage wallpaper that you see that's like really symmetrical, really maximalist, and it has like tigers or leopards on it that are like jeweling, for lack of better words. And I searched and searched and searched for a reference. I simply cannot find what I'm thinking of. But anyways, I think the idea of having those symmetrical leopards or tigers, whatever, but making them miso and chai instead could be really cute. And to incorporate the palm tree, that sort of Malibu or Palm Springs vibe, I think tying the tree into the V could look really cute. Now that I have some designs, it's time to take them to the products themselves. And this is where I'm going to be able to move stuff around and play with the placement and sizing before doing anything final. Not that we're going to be doing anything final whatsoever, because literally no one asked me to do this. Something that really helps me conceptualize everything is literally putting each design all together, the color palettes, some mock-ups, and just moving shit around until I see something. Since merch design is typically on sweatshirts, hoodies, and t-shirts, having your design or your artwork just easy to move around like this really helps. A lot of times with this process, I might end up all the way back at the drawing board and completely starting over, but luckily that's not going to happen this time because I like this. And now we can move on to one of my favorite parts, which is the illustration. So back to our vanilla inspired croaky, I'm going to get her dressed in her new merch. give her a wig and some glasses, and boom, here are the final designs for a potential, totally pretend, does not exist merch collection featuring my designs. One t-shirt design in 3 colorways and one hoodie with leopard print arms. Now, I'd personally love to see those leopard print arms on that hoodie in an actual faux fur material, but again, that wouldn't be optimal for merch as it would hike the retail price way up, but that could be really cute. I worked for hours on these designs. And again, absolutely no affiliation with Vanilla herself. No one asked me to do this. However, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe because I love doing these and I want to do a lot more. If there's someone that you would like to see me do next, if there's someone out there, influencer, celeb, YouTuber, somebody that you would like me to do a style breakdown on, a little fashion deep dive, and then maybe a little design segment from myself, comment who you would like to see. Thank you for watching if you made it to the end of this video. That really means a lot. Let me know your thoughts and I'll see you later.